Oh my goodness. Good morning. Are we ready to sing? Are we ready to sing? Please rise in mind, body, or spirit. Judy, take it away. We're going to kick off things with When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
You may be seated. Good morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Fullerton, California, an inclusive community dedicated to building a better world. Whoever you are, whoever you love, however you identify, we want to make this place safe. And that means it is a holy place. UUCF acknowledges that this land is situated in the ancestral homelands of the Hachiman, the Kizh, and the Tongva peoples. May we have the humility and courage to help restore what has been broken and the wisdom to live into a new solidarity with indigenous communities and the earth. We'll have a blessing for our crop walkers coming up in just a few minutes. Before we do that, a couple of announcements. We are in the middle of our diaper drive for homemade essentials. You can bring your donations through, I think, next Sunday. Is that the final Sunday? Okay, so write that down if you would like to be part of our diaper drive. And you can talk to Julie Neeram about that if you would like to. Pat Mannion has a new 5-week mindfulness meditation course. It is starting 2 weeks from today. It'll be a 5-week mindfulness meditation course. So 2 weeks from today. Today will be a regular meditation class in the choir room. Tasty Tuesday meets on May 26th at Moss Indian Creative Kitchen in Fullerton. You can sign up at the welcome table or talk to Linda. We are having our first Youth Sunday in a long time. and are so excited about it, where the kiddos are going to take control. Y'all are excited about that, right, Megan and Joy? They will be our pilots, and the children will be joining us and giving our message and sharing some of their talents, their musical talents, their speaking talents. That is coming up on May 31st as well. June, what? Oh, okay. Linda's talking out loud. We are having our Pride Fest in Fullerton. That is coming up on Saturday, June 6th. While we don't have a booth, what we're doing is we're gonna open up the lobby and have a cooling station and listening stations and all that good stuff. So please join us on Pride Saturday for Fullerton Pride. And then on Sunday, we'll be having our Pride Sunday with the Pink Pony Club sing-along. Also, it'll be our Flower Communion Sunday, which goes really well together. And then after that, of course, that ends our fiscal year. So there will be the annual congregational meeting where members vote on the new budget, revised bylaws, and the slate of nominees. So a big Sunday, couple of big Sundays coming up. So we hope that you will join us for those. And now our chairman or chairperson of the Board of Trustees, Mary Botts, has her monthly look at what the board is working on.
All right, good morning, everyone. We just have a few board updates because we did a really extensive board update at all of the cottage meetings. So this is going to be very short. Next slide. Our monthly board meetings are going to change from the first Sunday to the third Sunday so that we can have our financial reports for the board meeting in good order. So that's going to be a change starting in July. You're all welcome to be there. Just let us know ahead of time. So especially if we need to hybrid and Zoom you in, because that takes a little bit more equipment for us to get it going. The budget and bylaws. We are meeting today to finalize or approve the budget, the bylaws, and our increases to our staff. And so that final budget will be revised if there's anything today and will be sent to you on Monday or Tuesday. That way you'll have it to look at it for the board, or for the congregational meeting coming up. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, please send them ahead of time so that we can address it at our congregational meeting, so that way all your answers will be questioned as a good UU. So next, we are celebrating Amy Stiefes. Amy is going to be retiring from her admin position for us, and she's just done a fabulous job over the last 5 years, so we would like to celebrate her for what she's done, and yes, there will be cake. It will be on June 28th, Sunday. I do have one card in the back right now to go ahead and have people start signing, and I will bring a couple more in because I'm assuming that you'll have a lot to say. And then we will be, on July 12th, we'll be introducing Carrie Van Diest, who's taking over as the admin. And Carrie has been our bookkeeper since March. And Amy and Carrie are actually swapping positions. Amy wants something that does not take near as long as the admin position. And she's done bookkeeping before, and she and Carrie are very close. So it's going to be a really win-win situation because Carrie will be around to assist Amy for any questions. Amy will be around to assist Carrie for any questions. So it's going to be a really cool thing. We are going to introduce her so you all get to put a face to a name on July 12th. And yeah, there'll be cake. All right, and then just the last two slides are just a reminder that we have our Brave Souls ad out there in the Fullerton Observer. If you haven't seen it, take a look. Online, it's in color. In the paper, it's in black and white. And last but not least, don't forget our Zazzle store, because you want to be able to look like a UU Fullerton. Where's that slide? One more. There we go. All right, thank you very much.
I would like to introduce our guest speaker for today. If you've been around for a while, you already know Michael Eselun, who has graced us with his presence and his important messages each year. He serves as the chaplain for the Sims-Mann UCLA Center for Integrative Oncology. Two-time TEDx speaker, Michael speaks extensively to healthcare professionals, patient populations, and faith communities across the country. Long-serving as adjunct faculty at the Wiesenthal Center Museum of Tolerance, he's also worked as an activist and educator addressing anti-LGBTQ bias, which is needed now more than ever in the larger community for well over 30 years. Michael was recently inducted into the UCLA Semel Institute Society in recognition of having lived a meaning-driven life. So we welcome Michael this morning. We look forward to your message. Our caring listener this week is Mary Botts. You can speak with her after the service. If you have anything you want to talk about and want to have someone who's going to be non-judgmental and just be a presence for you, Mary will be here after the service, so you can look for her. We'll be sharing our joys and sorrows and concerns a little bit later in the service. I don't see any pink pieces of paper in the back, so if we could get those set up, and you can fill those out. If you are joining us on Facebook or on Zoom, please get those joys, concerns, or sorrows so that we can lift you up and light a candle for you. Now, 1 to 2 minutes to greet your neighbor, and then we will begin with our worship service.
Keep going.
out of your spirit or continue standing as we sing our song, Coming Home.
I return to myself, here where I belong. I am coming home, like a bird to its nest, like a river to the ocean. I am coming home. I return to myself, here where I belong. I am coming home, like a bird to its nest, like a river to the ocean. I am coming home.
You may be seated. I now invite Michael to come up and to light the chalice. The reading this morning is Yes, World. Sometimes I wondered if I had any faith. I sat down and thought about it, and when I had enough of that, I got up and went on my way. And that, the getting up and going, was faith. As a community of faith, for which that word itself has a myriad of definitions, we come together and light the chalice in solidarity and unified in our intention to bring more light into the world rather than darkness, more love rather than fear as individuals and as a community. May this flame be a statement and a symbol of our faith, and may it light our way. Please join me in saying our unison affirmation. This flame affirms the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. Love is the doctrine that we share, the quest for truth, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, thus do we covenant with one another. And now I would like to invite our crop walkers to come up for the blessing. Please line up right behind the red bucket. Friends and family, as you prepare to walk in the 2026 Fullerton Crop Hunger Walk, may you remember that every step you take carries more than your bodies forward. It carries compassion and solidarity. It carries the quiet but determined belief that another world is still possible. In a world where so many tables overflow while others sit empty, where food is wasted while children go to bed hungry, where climate disasters uproot families and drought hardens the earth, we choose not to turn away. Today, your footsteps become a form of prayer. And as you use, we remember service is our prayer. Prayers of being a public witness. A prayer in the form of taking to the streets and being a living reminder that no one in this world and in the United States should be hungry. May the road beneath you strengthen your resolve. May you walk not out of guilt, but out of love and intention. Love for neighbors we know and neighbors we may never meet. You are making a difference in living UU values one step at a time. Go with courage. Go with compassion. Go knowing that every mile walked in love matters. We send you off in love and solidarity with a prayer that a future world and a future America will be one without any person or any child going to bed hungry. Go now in peace and love, and we support you in your walk this morning. It is our custom to provide donations of non-perishable food and personal care items for Pathways of Hope. That is a local food bank that we are involved with. As the children who are still here and not walking yet, we have many kids walking today, which is so amazing. But as the children come forward, they are asked to collect the donations placed at the end of the rows. And now, kiddos, you're invited to come forward for Time for All Ages.
Good morning. Ooh, it's on already. Good morning. Before we read our story, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who gave us cards and flowers and everything last week. That was so thoughtful and so meaningful to end Teacher Appreciation Week. So thank you all for contributing to that. And today we have a story that was chosen by our guest speaker. And Joy is going to...
So our story today is called The Pilot. So what job does a pilot do, guys? Yes? Yes, they drive a plane. So the story is about a pilot driving a plane. This is not Southwest, this is not JetBlue, this is like a tiny little two-seater plane delivering mail over long distances. And one night this pilot is flying, and then he realizes that he is off course. Does anyone know what that means? He's off course, yes? What does that mean? You just shout it out. You can say it. He's not going the right direction, right? He is lost. There is no Google Maps, there is no MapQuest, and beyond that, he's not just lost, but his fuel tanks are low. The light is on and it says E, empty. And there's no Costco gas. There's no Arco around the corner. He's in the air and it's pitch black and he's over the desert in Africa, in northern Africa. So yeah, bad time. So he takes out his radio. That was a thing before you guys had iPhones. And he was radioing like, help. SOS, I'm lost, I don't know where I am. My fuel is low, I could crash out here. But all the nearby airports, they're tiny, they're small. So like all the airport people are just asleep and he's very scared and he's very worried. But then he just keeps flying and he keeps hoping someone will answer him. And eventually, he gets some calls back, some answers back on his radio from all those little towns that he reached out to. And they woke up the people at their airports, and they told him, they found out where he was, and they told him where to go to get back on track, back towards his destination. And that was great, but he was still worried about his fuel tanks. They were still really low, and he didn't know if he could make it there in time. But then the pilot heard his boss all the way back in France, who sent him out on his mission to deliver the mail. And he says, "Don't worry, your fuel reserve tank is bigger than you think it is, so just go on to your destination. You will make it, we promise." And so he made it safely there. And so just like that pilot who was scared and worried in the dark all alone, we might have moments in our life that's like that story. We're not actually driving a plane and we're not actually about to crash, but we just might feel lost or alone. We might feel like something's wrong in our life and we don't know what to do. And maybe we feel like we're not even capable of doing what needs to be done. So it's in times like these that we rely on our friends, people in our lives, to tell us where we are and who we are and remind us that we are capable, that there's more in our reserve tanks than we think, and that we are capable of doing what needs to be done. And sometimes it might be a friend or a family member who gives us that encouragement we need. We can be encouragement to each other along the way. And sometimes it might even be our faith, like being UUs. And sometimes we can be the ones encouraging our friends and family and people in our community. So from space, we've seen what a little speck our planet is. And so we're all part of this interdependent web, right? We all rely on each other, and we hold each other in safety. So now we hope our friends doing the crop walk have fun and are safe out there, and the rest of us will go learn some cool things. So thank you and have a good service.
Go with wisdom, go with wonder, go to greet a brand new day. Learn to see the light within you as we send you on your way. Go with wisdom, go with wonder, go to greet a brand new day. Learn to see the light within you as we send you on your way.
It is now time for our joys, our sorrows, our many concerns. We begin by lighting a candle for all our concerns for the larger world. Our wish for peace this week. Our wish for peace in Ukraine. Our wish for peace in Lebanon. Our wish for peace in Iran. Our wish for peace across the Middle East. Our wishes for justice and love in our own country. Our hopes for our kids who will inherit this planet. May this candle represent all these wishes and calls to action that are more than we can articulate in this space. We have a sorrow from Frank and Jocelyn Shiramoto. Today, Frank and I share our sorrow in the loss of our beloved fur baby, Ebony, who was part of our family for 18 years. And our fur baby lovers out there know that they are as big of our family as humans are. She brought us much unconditional love, comfort, companionship, and joy. Our hearts are very heavy, but we are deeply grateful for the many years we had with her. The enormous grief we feel when losing a beloved pet is indeed the price we pay for love, a price we are willing to pay. A joy from Natalie Cruz. Yesterday, I got to look after all 5 of my grandkids by myself, and we all survived. I'm happy to be able to spend more time with them. I am grateful to be supporting students as they complete their high school diplomas and move on to the next step of their adult journeys. And speaking of diplomas, a joy from Chance and Colleen. Congratulations to all who are graduating this spring, including our daughters, Fortune and Piper. Congratulations to Fortune and Piper. A joy from Gary Daniels. I had a wonderful time yesterday in my first performance as a member of the Masters of Harmony. That joy was compounded when I was surprised in the lobby by not only my own family, but also several members of my UUCF family. I am grateful to all of you for your willingness to celebrate my special day with me, and for Mary Botts, who apparently organized this outing. I am truly blessed by your loving kindness. Christina Garner also shares this joy. It was inspiring to hear Gary and the Masters of Harmony performance yesterday at La Mirada Theater. We are so lucky to have him as a house musician here at UUCF. Congratulations, Gary.
Hi, I have a joy to share. My name's Laura, if you don't know me yet. I have a joy to share, and that is I would like to light a candle for the 9 million people that showed up yesterday to fight fascism. Fight on.
For such a time as this. We now light one more candle for all the joys, the concerns, the sorrows that are unexpressed but still held close to our hearts. And now please join me in saying the affirmation. We join you in celebrating your joys. May you feel our love and compassion for your sorrows and concerns, for all that is spoken and unspoken. May the caring of our beloved community sustain us all.
This is my song, O God of all the nations.
song really hits deeper, doesn't it, right now? You may be seated.
As we move into a time of silent reflection, I invite us to get comfortable in our seats, close our eyes, and take a few nice deep breaths together. Inhale and exhale. As we breathe and release, before we sit in silence, I share with you a prayer by Reverend Micah Busi. Our prayers, which aren't in reach, hallowed be your absence. Our humility come, our avoidance be done on earth, as that's all we can control right now. Give us this day more connections to creativity, and forgive us our inaction as we give ourselves over to the work once again, and lead us not into desperation, but deliver us to imagination. For we are the prayers, if we allow ourselves to be prayed. Amen.
Thank you, MK. We're glad you're here, filling in. Reading is from Andrea Gibson. Friend, you are who taught me that a difficult life is not less worth living than a gentle one. Joy is just easier to carry than sorrow, and if you could lift a city from how long you've spent holding what's been nearly impossible to hold. But this world needs those who know how to do that. Those who can find a tunnel with no light at the end of it and hold it up like a telescope to show that the darkness contains many truths that can bring the light to its knees. Grief astronomer, adjust the lens. Look close. Tell the world what you see.
Good morning. I'm going to move this just because I don't want to trip over it. But thank you for welcoming me today. This is my 20th visit to this congregation. And I'm going to go out on a limb and just guess that there's one or two of you here old enough to remember suitcases that didn't have wheels on them. Remember, you'd have to haul around this impossibly heavy suitcase to an airport, a train station, you get to a hotel, you got to find a bellman because, hey, this thing is heavy. Why do you suppose it took a millennium or so to figure out if you put a few casters on that Samsonite, it'd be a little easier to manage? Still just as heavy, but easier to manage. What about baggage like our grief, our sorrow, our despair, disappointment, regret, Are there wheels for all those suitcases? And what might they look like? Still just as heavy, but somehow easier to manage. Until the time comes, anyway, if it ever does, to empty that suitcase, put it away, and leave it behind. Sometimes we can't put it behind. My husband, Scott, has been living with Parkinson's disease for 10 years. I'm not going to lie, it has not been easy, and it's guaranteed to get worse. A dear friend recently asked, Michael, what do you do to dispel all the sadness? That's the thing. The sadness doesn't get dispelled, ever. It gets held. You figure out how to carry it, how to move with it, how to roll with it, find wheels for it. So what might those metaphorical wheels be? I used this very image not long ago in one of the spiritual reflection groups that I lead for cancer patients at UCLA. What are your particular wheels that help you endure the unendurable? As you might imagine, there were those at the ready with very concrete answers. Oh, I work in the garden, I meditate, I write poetry, I snuggle with my dog or cat. I find someone to listen to me who's not going to give me a pep talk or any advice. Not always so easy to find. One woman really glommed onto that image of the suitcase itself, more particularly what was inside, her baggage, if you will. Michael, she said, I think I'd first have to open the suitcase, see what was in there, and see if it was really mine. Or did I inherit it? Did somebody give it to me, assume it of me? Maybe we have to lighten our load before we try to roll that suitcase through an airport or try to lift it up into the overhead compartment. But as with all things, all luggage is not made of the same quality. Some suitcases are so cheaply made that you use it once and the things are gone, or the wheel breaks, it falls off. One of those defective metaphorical wheels, I find, particularly in the realm of cancer, is certainty. Taking comfort in the idea that I know something here. I know why I got cancer. I know what my spiritual lesson is. I know I'm going to beat this. The Lord has my back. Adele was one such person, 30 years old, cured of Hodgkin's lymphoma, given the all clear, go live your life. She didn't have to wrestle with all those pesky questions like, why did this happen to me? Why did I get it? I know why. What's more, it was all within her power to control. I got cancer, Michael, because of stress. I'm a single mom working 2 jobs, burning the candle at both ends. That's why I got cancer. Very comfortable with that assessment. But the thing is, now her life is just as stressful as it was before her diagnosis, if not more so. So she is immobilized with fear that the cancer is going to come back. Certain of it, in fact. What if it's a faulty assumption? What if the cancer just happened? Is it possible to come into a new relationship with uncertainty? To maybe even roll into peace with uncertainty? These are overwhelming times, to be sure, in so many dimensions, on a global scale, certainly on a national scale, and most particularly in the realms of our individual lives. And there's not a shred of certainty to be found anywhere. For me personally, it's been quite a challenge to simply adapt to the ramifications of the last presidential election. Every day, it's something new. Trying to absorb it. To me, it reminds me of years ago, I was in the middle of a move. I had all my car stuffed with crap. I was moving to the new place. Somebody broke in, took all my crap. Weeks after filling out the police report, filling out the insurance report, I realized, oh shit, my favorite jacket was in the car. And now I've got to digest that loss and absorb it. And what can we do about any of it as individuals anyway? What can we do about Gaza, about Lebanon, about Ukraine, about Iran, about our democracy falling apart, voters' rights disappearing, families being ripped apart on the streets, arrested by masked secret police, about LGBTQ rights, reproductive freedom, food insecurity? It's too much. Are there wheels enough for all of those suitcases? For myself, I find if there's any relief or reprieve to be found at all, it comes when I can turn my attention from the very large to the very small. Sometimes, even the teeniest gesture of kindness can be restorative. Or the surprise I feel when I catch a full moon rising over the Hollywood Hills. Oh, look at that. Maybe that's just another brand of wheel. That smallness. Or maybe that's all life was ever about in the first place. But I will say that the older I get, the more I've come to believe that even the big stuff still changes by having only one conversation at a time. November 6th, 2024 is 2:30 in the morning. I rolled over, looked at my phone, and I saw that he won. The ground just fell out from under me. I was in free fall. I could not accept it. I still can't, in a way. There was no getting back to sleep, of course. I tossed and turned. And then I remembered, oh, Christ, I have a speaking engagement this morning at the Museum of Tolerance, talking to a bunch of educators about homophobia. What was I thinking in accepting that date? So I just lie there until it was time to get up, get a shower, and get dressed and drive over to the museum. Consternating the whole way. How am I going to enter this conversation today? How am I going to frame it? Why should anybody care at all about this on a day like today? So I got to the museum and parked, went upstairs to the conference center, took a deep breath, and I just dove in. Good morning. My name's Michael Eselun. I could hear my voice start to crack already. This certainly is a potent morning, isn't it? I'm remembering another potent morning when I was likewise here at the museum. It was September 11th, 2001, 2 hours after the Twin Towers came down. I was speaking to an audience of K through 12 educators from Northern California who were now stranded because airspace was closed indefinitely. It was almost surreal in a way. But the thing is, we were all in the same reality that morning. And today we are not in the same reality. Some of us are celebrating, rejoicing. Some of us are devastated. So I suppose my role here this morning, whether I like it or not, whether I think I can or not, or whether I even want to or not, is to try to build a bridge of humanity between these disparate realities. That is the larger umbrella in which I invite you into conversation this morning to look once again at how we as a culture are so committed to marginalizing those who seem to be different from ourselves. And we're going to narrow the focus on the lives and experiences of queer folks. Somehow, I got through the engagement. I don't know how. There were tears shed. There were hugs afterward. I was exhausted. I left the conference center, making my way through the crowd of people, and a man approached me. Michael, may I have a word? Of course, I said. I didn't recognize him from the engagement that morning. He told me that he too was a teacher, and he'd seen me a year earlier at the museum. And he wanted to tell me that recently his adult daughter had come out to him, and it had not gone well, particularly for my wife. It's just not okay in our religion and our culture. And then his eyes filled with tears as he confessed to me. I'm embarrassed to say there were moments when I thought it would be better if she were dead. But then I remembered seeing you. And I remember what you had to say. And I remembered that I love my daughter. And you gave me a roadmap. to show her that love. So thank you. Well, at this point, I'm crying, he's crying. I ask if I can give him a hug. And as I held him, for the first time since 2:30 that morning, I felt the ground under my feet again. Okay, this is it. This is what matters. One conversation at a time, making these kinds of connections, leaving the space for love. Maybe that's just my particular brand of wheel, making the space for love. Something so small and so huge at the same time. A couple years ago, I had an intake to do with Francine. She was in her mid-50s, and she had a very aggressive head and neck cancer with a very poor prognosis. We were meeting on Zoom, and she was 10 minutes late for the session. She signed on very apologetically. I'm so sorry, Michael, I lost track of time. I was out with my daughter looking for jacaranda trees in bloom. And with many patients, when I meet them for the first time, I will ask something very open-ended, like, tell me what's going on. How they answer that question leads me to where they kind of are. But when they start with something like, well, let's see, in 1968, I know I'm in for a long sit. They got to tell me their whole story, and I will seldom interrupt them. I know they have to tell it one more time. They have to hear it one more time. They have to digest it. They have to translate it and interpret it from the standpoint of where they are now in their lives. Francine was one such person. She barely came up for air. When I could sense she was winding down, she said, so you see, Michael, my life has been one disappointment after another. I never lived up to my potential. And now I have so little time left. How can I find meaning in what's left? Well, we've got about 5 minutes left of the session to answer that question. I said, Francine, I don't mean to sound glib or flip, but I think your answer might lie in your opening sentence. I was out with my daughter looking for jacaranda trees in bloom. Doesn't get more small than that, more insignificant. And yet you made the effort, had the intention to go have an experience of maybe magic, ephemeral beauty, and to share it with your daughter. All the more precious because of that love, all the more precious because those blossoms don't last long. Just like life. A couple years earlier, I was walking beside Nina, who was caring for her husband with a glioblastoma. We had many sessions over the last 18 months of his life and even more sessions after he passed. We also had many such conversations about just this. How do we find sustenance in teeny places, little glimmers of magic? She told me one week about the previous week's infusion appointment. As is often the case, there are many patients there with the same diagnosis because that's the day that that doctor is in clinic, that specialist. So there were other brain tumor patients there. She and her husband were situated in their recliners, and in walks another patient with his wife. They appeared to be very well healed. Beautiful slacks, beautiful shoes, nice sweater. They get situated right opposite Nina and her husband. Soon enough, the patient tells his wife he needs to use the toilet. She helps him get up to the toilet, and when he comes back, it's clear that he's pissed himself. The front of his pants is soaked in urine. Oh, God. The indignity of that. So this is where we are now. I didn't want to look at them. I didn't want to look away. I felt so bad, and now he's got to sit in that chair for 5 hours with urine-soaked pants. He was oblivious. With this childlike glee, he looks out the window and says, look, everybody, hummingbird. It doesn't get any smaller, less consequential. Hummingbirds, jacaranda blossoms. Maybe those are the places we can find some oxygen, at least enough to take the next steps that life requires of us while we pull our suitcase behind us. When I began as an intern chaplain 26 years ago, there was a woman in my cohort who had studied under someone who sounded like a rather fringy rabbi, who posited the notion that our whole life's purpose and meaning might be fulfilled in one 5-minute conversation with a stranger. I want to categorically dismiss this idea because I've got to be more important than that. My work has to be more important than that, doesn't it? But the idea has stuck with me. What if it's true? I've had a few of those 5-minute conversations. A few years back, Audrey, one of my colleagues at the Museum of Tolerance, was flying back to the Midwest to attend her 30th high school reunion. Oh, Audrey, I'm so excited for you. I love reunions. I can't wait to hear about it. She gets back. I say, so how was it? Michael, it was fantastic. I'm so glad I went. But you won't believe it. The craziest thing happened. This woman came up to me and said, Audrey, you're here. I'm so glad. I was praying you'd be here. You're the whole reason I came to the reunion. I wanted to thank you for what you said to me in 8th grade. And what you did for me. It changed my life. It maybe saved my life. Audrey has no recollection who the woman is, let alone what she told her in 8th grade. But it saved her life. One question, one conversation at a time. 42 years ago this summer, I had an experience that was likewise so huge and so small at the same time. Though at the time I was trying to grow a fledgling interior design business, I decided to revive my previous career as a professional dancer and audition to be a dancer in the opening ceremonies of the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles. And what do you know? I got cast. What a summer that was. And you knew going in, this is so not about you. Nobody is going to see you. Nobody's going to recognize you. Nobody's going to know you're there. And yet you have to perform up to this standard of excellence because you're part of this larger effort to welcome the world to Los Angeles. Well, after 6 weeks of rehearsing on the football field at El Segundo High School, the Olympic Dance Corps moved downtown to the Coliseum as the big day approached. We would also be rehearsing the transportation plan for the big day. We were all to drive out to Santa Anita Racetrack, park our cars there, and from there, a flotilla of LAUSD school buses would haul us all down to the Coliseum, wait for us, scoop us up when we were done, and take us back to Santa Anita. Well, this particular day was the day before the final dress rehearsal, I think, which was going to have an invited audience. The Coliseum would be relatively full. We could each invite 4 friends to that. But this day was filled with so much tension and stress, so much infighting between the producer, the director, the choreographer, well-known Broadway TV choreographer Ron Field, marching band director, drill team director, everybody fighting for more time on the field to perfect one more segment or another. We had to strike 2 numbers that we had worked all summer on. We were going to do a West Side Story medley, and a Singin' in the Rain medley had to be cut. There was no time to put it on the field. So disappointing. Well, that rehearsal went on forever. It was maybe 1 or 2 in the morning when the producer, David Wolper, says, let's call it a night. Time to go home. The buses already had gone home. We were stranded at the Coliseum at 2 in the morning. This is long before cell phones or Uber. How are we going to get home? And what had been a really collegial atmosphere within the Olympic Dance Corps suddenly became kind of contentious and ego-driven, filled with rage. And I'm a professional. I demand to be treated better than this. I've never been treated like this in my life. This is outrageous. The louder everybody got, the quieter I got. And I just observed, all that carrying on isn't going to get the buses here any sooner. And then it occurred to me, you know what? This whole enterprise, this endeavor is so huge, nobody knows how to do it. Just like life. Just like my life, just like your life, even though I have people in my life, I imagine you do too, who think they know how to do my life better than I do. When in fact, no one knows how to do it better. Not even me, because my life hasn't been lived yet. Well, that dress rehearsal day was perhaps more thrilling than the big day itself. The atmosphere was electric. The audience was out of their minds with excitement before we even started. So excited to be the first to see what the world is going to see tomorrow. Well, the finale of the entertainment section, and I know this is hokey as hell, the marching band created a map of the United States. On the playing field, we were all contained inside the map, and we were to all sing America the Beautiful, a song written by a lesbian. I just think you should know that, if you don't know that. Catherine Lee Bates, a 19th century woman in a Boston marriage with another woman, both school teachers. Kathleen gets a summer school teaching job in Colorado, takes a train across country, so inspired to put pen to paper, oh, beautiful, for spacious skies. Isn't that a lovely story? Why do you suppose we don't know that story? Anyway, when we get to the refrain in the song, America, America, we were to all make a big, grand, sweeping gesture with our right arm, turning 360 degrees, taking in the whole Coliseum. The audience was on their feet, out of their minds. I was crying so hard I couldn't breathe, let alone sing. It was a moment of sacred, holy communion. And I was invisible. A moment so small and so huge at the same time. And yet it remains one of the peak experiences in my life so far. Surrendering to a larger reality, something we must do again and again, like it or not, moving across life's thresholds, going from childhood to adulthood, from student to professional to retiree to parent to grandparent to caregiver, until we all cross that final threshold. Can we do it with a little more tenderness, a little more grace for ourselves and each other as we figure it out, as we go our way? Maybe keeping our eyes open for little bits of magic and miracles like I got to experience on the field at the Coliseum on one summer afternoon in 1984. Can we give up our need for certainty and let it go? Can we resist our urge to perhaps compare our luggage to somebody else's? That's my particular strong suit. Oh, look at them. They've got nicer luggage. They're doing it better than I am. They figured it out. When in fact, nobody's figured it out. Nobody knows how to do this. And yet we're all going to be boarding the same plane soon. Like it or not, sooner or later. Can we just breathe into that? With a little more ease, a little more curiosity and fear. And remember, when putting your suitcase into the overhead compartment, wheels first. So be it. Thank you.
Our chaplains are a blessing. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
making this space for us. There's so many reasons we give to a community and congregation like UCF. Not because the world is easy now, not because everything is certain, but because none of us are meant to carry life alone. You may look at this congregation and the spiritual tools that it gives you and the community as one of those wheels. There are payment options on the screen, Venmo, PayPal, checks as well. If you are a first-time visitor, don't worry about it. We're just glad you're here. And we thank you, the rest of you, for your generosity.
I invite you to perhaps close your eyes and take a few nice deep breaths again. Might we envision that telescope that Andrea Gibson describes and look through it, adjust the lens, and be reminded that darkness contains many truths that can bring light to its knees. May we rest in that truth and know we can move into and through that darkness. We can carry it all because we have wheels on our suitcase. And we are not alone. We now extinguish the chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts wherever we may go. Amen, shalom, salam, namaste, and blessed be. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able and join with me in singing our closing hymn, Answering the Call of Love.